I think what has really surprised me most and keeps me up at night, to be quite honest with you, is falls. Those over 65. Falls account for 25% of all hospitalizations and over 40% of nursing home visits. Of those that survive a fall, 50% never return to their previous level of mobility or independence. And it's the leading cause of death for older adults over 65. And falls are preventable.
That was Kathy Webster on episode 86, talking about the importance of our physical conditions and understanding ways to prevent falls. That information was mind-boggling to me. And so I wanted to talk more about ways that we can help our loved ones stay physically fit, even when they're aging or have disabilities that we think can prevent it. Welcome. This is a Season of Caring podcast, and I'm Rayna Neises, your host, where there's hope for living, loving, and caring with no regrets. Thank you for joining me today as we talk more about physical fitness and the impact on our loved ones as we're caring for them. As I was preparing for this episode, I found so much great information, but it just kept resonating with me that all of this information has to do with us and our physical condition, as well as the person that we're caring for. I hope that you can embrace both this information for yourself and your personal health, as well as the person that you're caring for. We've all heard it at least a million times. Physical exercise is good for us, and it impacts our lives in so many different ways. And I'm not sure why we don't do it more often, but let's talk one more time about some things that maybe we haven't thought of before. So let's start with, I found an article on AARP.com to live longer, exercise daily. And in that article, it was amazing. It says the latest evidence is showing that exercise not only strengthens our heart and may trim our waist, but regular physical activity can actually slow the aging process on a cellular level and potentially add years to your life. It says, consider this. Federal guidelines recommend at least 2.5 hours of moderate intensity exercise every week. But Harvard University researchers recently noted that as little as 15 minutes of regular physical activity daily can boost your lifespan by 3 years. I think that's amazing when we think about just that small amount of exercise can impact our lifespan. That's crazy. The latest research also gives us our first clue why physical activity is so important. It appears that it actually makes your cellular biology younger. So Brigham Young University researchers found that DNA samples of over 6,000 adults, they measure the length of the participants' telomeres, the actual molecular caps at the end of the chromosomes that tend to get shorter with age. They found that people with higher activity levels had longer telomeres than those that were sedentary. In fact, the exercisers had a biological age that was about 9 years younger. So I hope that information is motivating to you to help you and your loved one get moving. So let's talk some basics. 5 benefits of exercise for aging seniors and for all of us. Number 1, it helps to prevent disease. All of us have our challenges, whether it be heart disease, diabetes, weight. There are always challenges physically. So why not get in front of as many of them as we can? We know that exercise impacts these in a positive way. So helping to diminish the impact of heart disease or even stabilize our blood sugar levels, exercise can help if we already have disease, or it can help prevent disease. The second one is to improve our mental health. There are so many benefits of exercise, but endorphins is definitely one of them. Our brain loves endorphins. We can get endorphins from doing physical exercise. So remembering that it can have a really positive impact on your health mentally, even when you don't feel like doing it, can make a big difference. Getting that blood pumping and helping those endorphins being released into our bodies can help us move into the place where we want to be, even when we aren't there when we get started. So just remember, getting the habit in place really can make a difference in your mental health, from depression to just the blues Number 3, decreasing the risk of falls. Again, when we think of our loved ones and the ones that we're caring for, a fall risk is huge. We heard Kathy say it can change everything. So preventing a fall can make such a big difference. And getting the strength and the endurance to do the things that need to be done can really be benefited from physical exercise. Flexibility, just overall strength can be so important. And the 5th main area that I saw was improving your cognitive function. Working out challenges your brain in a different way. It helps your right brain and left brain work together. It helps you to be able to keep yourself sharp and active. So that's a really important thing to do. Some of the other benefits from exercise are better sleep, healthier weight management, more energy, impacts your blood pressure in a positive way. There's so many reasons to exercise. There are also barriers to exercise, and I get that. That was one of the things that we dealt with early on in my dad's diagnosis was once we got to the point that the doctor said, hey, it's not safe for him to drive anymore. We had the challenge of getting him to the exercise locations. That can be a challenge, but I really encourage you to think for your loved ones, how can I help them to continue to be as physically active as they can be? Thinking about those resources, finding friends that are already attending the activities. My dad and my aunt went to the Y together. My aunt attended a exercise class. My dad enjoyed the pool and the weights. And so finding what works for you is really important, but just finding a way to be able to get to the gym together, to get to the physical activity that works for your loved one, it really has to be a must. I mentioned before, Uber and Lyft might be some great options for you, depending on where you live. During the time that I cared for Dad, I was actually able to go to the gym with him and right alongside lift weights. He didn't care to work out on a treadmill, and that was something I enjoyed. So early on, he was fine doing the weights by himself, and I would do the treadmill. And then after things progressed and he was having a little more difficulty figuring out what weights were appropriate and where to put the pen and that kind of thing, that we took turns. I would do 10, he would do 10. So being able to do that as alternating were helping both of us because my physical health was just important as his. So I hope you hear that. I'm going to say that over and over today. Finding a way to get them there and also finding exercise that they love. I don't know about you, but it's been a challenge in my adult life to find exercise that I love. I've always loved competitive sports, and the older I get, the less beneficial that is to me. So I have to find other things that I really enjoy. Considering different alternatives can be really helpful. I think I've mentioned on the podcast before that I found an online workout that I actually love to do. And I did that frequently when I was at Dad's house after I put him to bed. It was called Body Groove. And it was just a fun way of doing kind of the old-fashioned aerobics in a new way. And just being able to dance it off really helped to lower my stress level and give me the physical conditioning that I needed to be my best during my caregiving season. Keep looking. If you haven't found the physical exercise that is best for your loved one, keep trying new things. Yoga is one of those things I never really thought that I would like, but in recent years, I found some workouts that I've enjoyed. And just getting that stretching and flexibility in place can be so helpful. So keep looking. There is opportunities for chair yoga. If your loved one doesn't have the strength that they once did, it just allows them to balance and to have something to hold on to. A lot of the seniors are enjoying exercises in chairs or other activities that maybe were not something they would have done in the past, but they find are a really good fit for them now. There are many resources, so I challenge you to look in your local community and find some things that will work both for you and for them. One of the things that I found really interesting as I was doing some research is some exercises for people who have limited mobility. And I found this at activebody.com. I'm going to share with you 3 exercises that I found, surprising surprisingly difficult. At the same time, from this article, just really talked about the benefits that can be in place just from doing some of these really simple exercises. The first one is breathing. Yeah, we hear about breathing a lot to lower our stress level, but this one is also helping us to focus in on our core muscles, which is so important. So what you need to do is just sit up really straight as possible, take a deep breath. Now tighten your abdominal muscles as hard as you can and count to 10. And then release the air and do it a total of 10 times. I don't know about you. It sounds really simple, but man, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be, especially to do it 10 times in a row. You can really get to breathing hard. So when I think about all those muscles that I don't really use very often in my core, it really does help to see that just tightening them and holding them like that can give us some exercise that we haven't been getting in the past. Okay, number 2 is a chairlift. Now, I know Kathy talked about stand-up sit-downs, and that sounded really simple too, especially for those of us that maybe are caregivers. This one was called chairlift, and it's just sit up in your chair. Even if they're in a wheelchair, they can sit up tall and then bend your elbows to position directly under your shoulders. So you want them not on the arms, but actually on the seat. And so you get your arms down there next to you and then just push yourself up. And you're trying to just lift your bottom off of the seat 1 to 2 inches. It's tougher than it sounds. And the good news is, even if you can't lift yourself up off of the seat, if you just push as hard as you can, you're still giving those muscles a good workout. And so that was one that even if you don't have the upper body strength right now to push all the way up, I think you'll find if you continue to do this, that you will build more strength and be able to lift yourself out of the chair. So you want to hold for 10 seconds. Again, lower yourself down, rest for 10 seconds, and try to do 10 if you can. A lot tougher than it sounds. And the third one I wanted to share is called Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy. This one cracked me up because it sounds easy peasy, right? You can do this one actually sitting or lying down. So if your loved one is not able to sit up for as long as doing these 3 exercises, you could actually start the day doing this one or end the day doing this one. All you need to do is put your palms together directly in front of your chest, lock your fingers together, and then just push your hands together as hard as you can, holding it for 10 seconds, and then keeping them locked together. You want to try to pull them apart for 10 seconds. Then rest. You're going to need it. And try to do 10 of these as well. Again, the name is a little misleading. It is a lot tougher than you would think it would be. I'll be linking this website on our show notes page. Again, it was activebody.com, a great list of isometric exercises, which are exercises that are just doing that constricting of the muscle and holding it and then relaxing. They can be extremely beneficial to our bodies, especially when we're not able to do a lot of the physical exertion that we've done before. Just taking the time to do some of these types of exercises each day will increase overall health, strength. And we think about how important it is as we age to be able to keep that strong upper body, whether it be transferring from a bed to a wheelchair or just standing up to be able to transfer from the wheelchair to a restroom. A lot of those things were really dependent on that strength. So even as our loved ones age or as they have disabilities that are impacting their overall physical health, finding ways to help them exercise really will make a difference in the long run of quality of life and length of life. So remembering that exercise needs to look different in each season. For you as a caregiver, it still needs to be a part of your life, and it will be challenging to work that into your life. But you can find ways to do it if you partner with the person you're caring for. We all do better at working out and consistently getting exercise when we have a partner. And so allow them to be your partner, buddy up together and do the things that need to be done to keep you both stronger and healthier than you would be if you were avoiding it. That's it. That's my tips and suggestions for continuing to increase your physical fitness and help your loved one to do the same during this season of caring. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to check out my show notes page at aseasonofcaring.com/podcast to find the resources that I found as I was looking for unique information to share with you today. Be sure to join us next time on A Season of Caring podcast. And just a reminder, A Season of Caring podcast is created for the encouragement of family caregivers. If you have financial, medical, or legal questions, be sure to consult your local professionals and take heart in your season of caring.